Hey there, happy December. I'm Julie Barrett, founder of Conservative Ladies of America and Conservative Ladies of Washington. Today is December 2nd, 2024, and it's the first day of pre filing for the Washington State Legislature. So, pre filing begins today and will go through the end of the month, probably right up to Christmas. And then the legislative session actually starts on January 13th. We have a legislative action team, a big group of people in Washington that has been working all year long, really since the last session ended, to get up to speed, stay up to speed, learn about the policies that Washington Democrats are wanting to pass in 2025. And so we will be watching very closely over these next few weeks as these new bills get dropped. And we'll be sending out alerts and information to citizens so they know about some of the bills that we're watching and what they're about and what they would do and how they would impact citizens. Now, today I want to have a little bit of a tough love conversation with you because one of the things that I hear often is from people who say, I didn't even know this was happening. Why didn't you tell me yesterday? How come you didn't get this information to me last week? You should have, you should have this, you should have that. And it's very interesting to me because sometimes people will tell me they get my emails, but they didn't hear about, whatever a specific topic was. And I'll look up the email and come to find out that that person hasn't even opened their emails to us because our program lets us see the open rate and what people are opening. So certainly if you're getting our emails and you're not opening them, you're not going to know what's going on. But also, it is not the responsibility of any activist, any politician, any media personality or news company. I mean, we all know that the mainstream media isn't going to share this information with you, but also people look at, citizen journalists and any independent journalists and expect them to share information. There's so much information that it's really important for you, the citizen, to take ownership of being informed and go hunt this information down. Most of it you won't find from media or politicians or even activists. Now, when I got involved in legislation back in 2021, that was a result of Washington state's anti-parent laws and how they had very negatively impacted my family. I wanted to know, how did we get here? Who made these laws? When did they make them? And why haven't I heard of them until now and that they're impacting me? And so I went down the rabbit hole, which ended up being decades worth of legislation. And I say that legislation is like a web. No single bill typically stands on its own. It's usually connected to other bills, and future bills usually build on policies that were passed through other bills in previous sessions. And so I was trying to unravel this web of legislation that led to Washington's anti-parent laws that did not allow me to make decisions for my minor child who was only 14 years old and going through a mental health crisis. And as I started finding these pieces of policy, I wondered, who was sounding the alarm? Where were the people sounding the alarm? Why weren't the elected officials? Why weren't our elected officials telling us, hey, we just, voted to take away your parental rights? Nobody tells us. And in the 3 years since I got involved, and I've been learning a lot more, and I've been going down a variety of rabbit holes, I have learned that, and being engaged in the session, I have learned that the elected officials, they don't make announcements. They don't really share information with the people. Many, especially on the Republican side, don't even have social media. They share what they want to share. And we as citizens have a duty to be researching this information for ourselves. And so that's why with Conservative Ladies of Washington, which has expanded to Conservative Ladies of America, this is why we have decided to make legislation our main focus and trying to educate citizens, and more than just educating citizens, also compelling them to take action. One of the things that has been something I've noticed since I first got involved is that you have these communities on social media, whether they're groups or just X, and you're following people. these communities have a tendency to be an echo chamber, and so people will vent and stuff about a certain topic, but nobody is being compelled to actually take action. And so we're just kind of screaming and venting into this echo chamber, and nothing is happening. The needle isn't moving. And so with Conservative Ladies, we have made a concerted effort to put out daily, year round. We try year round to have some kind of daily call to action where citizens can actually do something that is going to move the needle in some way rather than just spewing into social media. And so I would encourage you, because a lot of people will tell me, well, I just don't have time to send an email to my legislator. I just don't have time to watch my county council meeting. I just don't have time to make a public comment. I just don't have time to testify in a legislative hearing. Think about the time that you spend scrolling through X or scrolling through TikTok or Instagram or whatever your platform of choice is. We can spend several hours a day mindlessly doing things on social media. So I would encourage you to see those distractions and ask yourself, how could I better use this time that I'm spending on social media that's not maybe moving the needle at all? How could I use this time that I have to do something that might move the needle in some way, or at least make my voice heard, at least frustrate the process of the Democrats who are passing very bad radical left agendas that are harmful to citizens. And there are a lot of easy things that citizens can do, from even just signing in on a bill, which means basically it's like you're voting on a bill. You're saying pro or con to a bill. And this allows the legislators to see kind of what the citizen response is to a certain piece of legislation. It's a great way for people who maybe can't speak publicly or just don't have the time. We put out calls to action that literally take 30 seconds, and you can do it from your smartphone. So there really is no excuse. We cannot depend on these media personalities. It's not their job to educate us as citizens about what's going on and what's important. They're going to share information that they think will get clicks and views and expand their audience. It's a business. We have to remember that media is a business. We as citizens have a duty to seek out information for ourselves. So as we go into this 2025 legislative session, I would encourage you to commit to learning information, commit to researching the topics that you are most interested in. Now, I know that there's kind of this analysis paralysis when it comes to legislation and this sort of thing, because you might feel like, well, I don't understand legislation. It seems like a lot of different issues. Where do you even start? And so I want to have you dial it back just a little bit. Pick one issue, something that you're really passionate about, you're really concerned about, something that impacts you directly. So for me, it was parental rights. That's where I started. Maybe it's the Second Amendment for you. Maybe it's education. Pick an issue and then commit to being informed about that issue. Maybe you want to follow the State Board of Education Committee. Maybe you want to follow the Senate Education Committee or your local school board. Pick one area and then become an expert on that one area. If you try to spread yourself too thin, you're going to become overwhelmed, and then you're just going to throw in the towel. You're going to say, I can't even manage this, forget it. So pick one issue. You don't have to know everything about everything, just know a lot of things about one thing. That's a great place to start. And then what you can do is you can take action by sending emails to policymakers. You can make public comment. You can share the information that you find. Maybe it's notes from a school board meeting and some bullet points that you think citizens in your school district should know about. You share that out on social media. And that is a huge way to make an impact and educate other citizens. And as you educate other citizens, you also want to encourage them to join you in taking action. There is something everyone can do. You're not too old. You're not too busy. You're not uneducated about legislation or whatever you think the policy is. There's something everyone can do with what you have and the time that you have available. So I'd encourage you to think about what those things might be. We have a couple of opportunities every week for citizens to join us and be active with us. One is our legislative action team, which is much more of a commitment. We do ask people, it's Monday nights, and we do ask people to be committed to joining us every Monday night through the end of the legislative session, which will be the middle of April. We also have every Thursday all year round at noon PST, we have our lunchtime legislation. This is where citizen activists can come together, concerned citizens, group leaders from other groups or group members from other groups, and just hear about what's going on, bring their own concerns. And it's really a casual and informal meeting where we talk about what's going on. Now, during the session, we talk specifically about bills that are moving during that particular week and how citizens can take action and the things that we need done. So that's a great meeting to come to. You can even just come and observe. I'm going to have links for our legislative action team and our lunchtime legislation in the description below so that you can check those out. I would also ask you to sign up for our Substack. During the legislative session, we have easy calls to action that we are putting out daily. On Mondays, we have usually a packet of bill, which is usually 5 or 10 bills that we're asking people to sign in on. It'll take you a maximum of like 2 to 5 minutes every Monday. Do it with your morning coffee. It's a great way to make an impact without having to spend too much time or go any farther than your smartphone. So please sign up for our Substack. I'll have that in the link below as well. I would also encourage you to bookmark our Legislative Action Center. This is where we put bills that we're looking at, that we're concerned about. And you can also go research bills. You can search bills by keywords and find things that maybe we haven't put on our site, but it pulls everything from the Washington Legislature website. So you can find anything that is active in Washington on our Legislative Action Center. So I would encourage you to do that. Lastly, I would ask if you can consider making a donation to us, even $10 a month, whatever you can do. We are a citizen activist organization. We are not lobbyists. We are not funded by big donors. We are not, a political organization. We are just concerned citizens that are working really hard to educate and activate other citizens. So I will have our donation link below, but another way that you can support us is by subscribing to our Substack. That is basically like being a member, and that also helps us a lot. That helps us cover our costs to put out content to you for our Legislative Action Center and other platforms that we use to be able to reach citizens. I want to thank you for being willing to get involved, being willing to consider how you can take more action in 2025. If you have any questions or you're just really not sure where to start, we have a team of people who would love to help you and direct you and answer any questions that you may have. So I'll have a link to email our team down below as well. I will look forward to seeing you throughout the session with lots of content, lots of information on bills, as well as from our other team members. So be sure that you are subscribed, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.